Scott Van Pelt, SportsCenter anchor, golf host, all-around good guy. And how do you think? We did a little research for a change. We wanted to welcome you back. Thanks for joining us, Scott.
It's my pleasure. Marvin hit him with a Curtis blow. Yeah.
Curtis blow.
Yeah.
You're all in on your Orioles there, judging from your T-shirt. Is that what we have?
Dan, having done this as we both have for a while, people send strange things in the mail. Am I right?
Yes, they do. Look at my man cave. That's all it is. It's stuff that I got collected.
Exactly. Okay, so when the Orioles were horrendous for the past few years, anytime they would win, I would just scream in the very Baltimoreese dialect, "Oh, strays and natty bows, hon." And that's how we would celebrate one of the 50 some odd wins.
52.
Well, someone sent me this. I think this is one of one. It's Ostros and Natty Boson. Well, now they're quite good. And so those of us that sort of endured, I'm not peacocking around here and acting like they're, going to the playoffs, but they've got a really talented, really good team. And I'm happy for them. I'm happy for any of the guys that have been around for a while, Brennan Hyde and all the longtime O's who are now good.
Well, I think it's 3 playoff appearances in the last quarter century. Something.
Not a lot.
No?
Not a whole lot. Not a whole
lot. What's your first memory as an Oriole fan?
Memorial Stadium with my dad. Like $3 night. They used to be able to get an upper reserved seat in Memorial Stadium for $3. And so there'd be 20,000 people and 10,000 would be in this in the upper reserves. And then around the third or fourth inning, you'd work your way down. I don't want to derail this, but I'll make it as quick as I can. There used to be a public address announcer there by the name of Rex Barney. And if a fan made a catch of a foul ball and they made a good catch, Rex would say, "Give that fan a contract." Brooks Robinson hits a foul ball. My dad jumps up, makes a good grab, catches a Brooks foul ball. I'm like 10. Come home from school the next day. Naturally, we're going to play catch with the ball. Throw it. My buddy misses it. It rolls down the street into a sewer. It's gone. I tell this story at a charity event in Baltimore 20 years ago. In the crowd is someone who does some work with Brooks. And a week later, a box shows up at my house. And there's a note in the box that says, "Hope this makes up for the one in the sewer, Brooks Robinson."
Oh, wow.
So I'm not an autograph guy, Dan, but I have in my man cave, I have one autograph. It's a baseball signed by Brooks Robinson to make up for the one my dad caught that I threw in the sewer.
It's like Sandlot.
Kind of.
Yeah, your own version of Sandlot. We're talking to Scott Van Pelt. Are you retiring before I retire?
No. See, I'm not retiring. As far as like the whole SportsCenter thing goes, when I went on with Trina, all I was saying was, sometimes you got to leave the party a half an hour early rather than a half an hour late. You know what I mean? You don't want to be. I don't want to be dragging me out there, just going, "Oh God, the old guy. Let's give him the Ostros and Natty Bows line and bring him on out there." No, I'm not. I'm not have no interest in abandoning the post necessarily. I just, you just always got to look at what's out there and figure out what you can do to stay relevant.
I got bored with SportsCenter, and
I bet you did.
And I sat in the chair one night, and I'm throwing to Sal Palantonio, and I'm thinking, what am I doing? Because I was just going through the motions, and I'm going,
yeah.
God, I can't do that's. I should not be sitting in this chair. Somebody else younger should be sitting there. And I don't know if you've ever had those feelings in a show where you're going, God, do I want to? It's a young man's game.
I agree with that, and there are very few people that would identify and understand, because I'm sure people might roll their eyes and go, "How hard can it be?" There's a certain amount of mental energy. And then there's a certain amount of physical energy. And by that, I mean that it's midnight or 1 a.m. and you just need to be present and awake and have energy and be entertaining. And no, there are nights driving home on the Clara Barton Parkway in DC where you're dodging deer on this road and you're thinking, just how many of these do you have in you? And you and a handful of men and women out there could nod and say, you know what that means. I don't lack the energy or the interest. I just am being realistic about, do you keep doing the same thing for, my contract would run through like 10 years of doing it. 10 years seems like a good time to say, all right, is that the only thing you do? Is that what you do? Who knows? Who knows? But I love that I get to do this. I still am interested in the things that happen and the stories that happen, and the nights where you get to cover the biggest events feel huge. And then the challenges on the nights when it doesn't feel like that. Can you still paint the corners? Can you still throw strikes, right?
Where do you stand on Monday Night Countdown? Is that part of the resume now?
No, it was reported that I was the guy, and other than me not having been offered the job or accepting the job I haven't been offered, it was spot on. God, that was weird. I mean, you read things and you're like, whoa, people are congratulating me and things of that, and then you're like, it's very strange to be the person who, you hear an athlete or somebody in sports say, well, that's just not true, and you kind of always think, sure it is. Well, this was a situation where something was reported about me which was not accurate. Now, I don't want to be coy and act like it couldn't happen. I have a great boss. The people there have been incredibly supportive, and you know what this is about, right? You have conversations, and is this something that would work? Is this something that benefits you and me, and I can do something that helps us, that helps me find a different sort of daily workload, weekly workload? And if it is, and it makes sense, then great. But if it doesn't, for whatever reason, then there are plenty of great men and women at our place that could do as good or better than I in that spot. But for the moment, I'm supposed to go back in August and hunker down for year 9, and off we go.
All right. Well, maybe I'll put my hat in the ring then if you're not taking it officially.
I hope you don't. You're a Hall of Famer. I don't need that.
No.
I thought you announced. I couldn't figure out if you were announcing you're retiring. You got an extension. What was that?
Well, it's both. It's an extension, but it's my last contract. Therefore, it's a contract extension announcement and a retirement.
Never the last contract, Dan.
No, it is. Doing this? Yes, it is. Yeah, it is.
And how do you know? And what makes you know that?
Because I made the decision.
You made it today. What if you know how time goes? It goes by too quickly, and then all of a sudden it's like the last month, and you're like, oh crap, I still enjoy this.
Wait, are you taking the over? It's 4.5.
I'll bet under, just because I take you at your word.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be a jerk here. I'm just saying that I think you and I have both probably experienced it in a way that maybe sometimes is a little scary. You go, crap, how do we get to this place in the road where you start realizing you're running out of runway? But I listen, I take you at your word. You say you're going to go, I believe you.
I'm a journalist.
I'll miss you.
How do we process Brian Harman winning the Open Championship?
Give him his flowers, man. It's not any more complicated than that. I get that he wasn't the favorite, but this is a top 25 basically ranked player in the world who was a stud in college, who won on tour. He's one of those guys that if he wins, you go, he had his week where he was great, and he was great. I think what happens is that majors, the theater of majors, we wait for them, right? And each one is a little bit different, and each one has its own flair and flavor. But what the common thread is typically is there's incredible tension and drama. And he eliminated that largely because that round he played Friday was impossible. I mean, he got to 10 under, and then it was like, it's his unless he wobbles. And any glimmer he gave of wobbling, people were like, oh, here it is. He's gonna, it's on now. And he would just kind of, I must imagine, giggle and think, no, it's really not, because he constantly had the answer. So I understand that it wasn't wildly exciting because he played great. I understand he wasn't the person that was the name you expected, perhaps, but it just speaks to the depth of American golf. It speaks to how hard it is to win majors. And it was his turn. I mean, you follow these, you love the game. At Aaron Hills a few years back when Brooks won, he was right there in the mix, and wasn't his turn. He wasn't about to spit the bit after he played those great first couple of rounds. I'm happy for him. I know him. I like him. You'd enjoy him. He's a huge sports fan, and he was absolutely fantastic. So to me, I say what I said to start: give him his flowers. Acknowledge that he had the week of his life.
Did the drama of golf or surrounding golf, did the play match the drama around the sport?
No, only because you knew who was going to win unless there was a calamity. And
I'm talking about the totality, the entire year, like the drama of everything that's happened, and the play that we saw. Did it match?
That's interesting. Maybe not, just because the drama is the headline, right? I mean, guys wake up on a Tuesday or whatever it was, and it's like live PGA merger, and people are like, wait, what? I mean, I'm talking about the big boys woke up to the same news we did, and they were all just. And now, I mean, that was a hell of a headline. I don't know when or how it happened. So no, that is a headline that kind of obliterates anything, which seems ridiculous when you started with, John Rahm and Brooks Koepka winning the first two majors of the year. I mean, you're on a hell of a trajectory there. No disrespect to Wyndham Clark and Brian Harmon winning. They deserved it. But those names don't pack as big a punch headline-wise as the headlines that came in the middle of all this. No. So I guess those headlines and the question marks that surround those headlines are still probably the biggest story that the sport has to answer.
We started with your Orioles. We'll end with your Commanders. The over-under for your Commanders, 6.5. How do you feel as a Commander? Did you already win? How many wins did you get with Dan Snyder being kicked to the curb?
11 billion.
At least 60 million.
Well, that was a heck of a tariff on the way out the door. Yes, I mean, and it's hard to process unless you're in that region or you really get what Washington, when they were the Redskins, meant to the NFC East. It was such a cloud that followed, and now it's lifted. And Josh Harris, I think, has done everything right to start. You just want to open the doors and open your arms to those folks and say, we want you back. We need you back. We're going to get back, but we can't without you. You're invited. And I think the name will change just because, and I don't mean back to what it was. I just mean this is the last sort of vestige of the Snyder era, even though he didn't want it. I think it'll be something different probably next year. I assume they'll try to go back to the RFK spot if they can. I don't know the politics of it. But I think you get a new stadium, you get a name that's new, you have a new owner, and you say the Washington franchise has a hell of a history. The last 25 years will sort of act like it was a bad fever dream, and we'll lock arms and march into the 2025s and beyond.
Where's the puppy?
I don't know. He's wandering around. Anything could be happening at this point. He took a dump on a podcast, and no, I've got eyes on him, and he's almost a year now, so he's pretty trustworthy. Although he's giving me that look with his ears up, like oh, am I? You think so,
huh? Thanks for joining us on your vacation. Good to talk to you, bud.
Always, Dan. Be well.
That's Scott Van Pelt, the Mothership.